Fantastic to be here, and I hope you're enjoying the day as much as I am. You probably want to know what no-nonsense design is. It's the mission statement for the company I work in, called King Design. No-nonsense design is visual communication that does the job it was designed to do. And it can mean that a brand succeeds in competition with others. But first I'd like to say a little bit about myself. For the past 20 years, I've worked as a designer and consultant as King Design in Oslo. I was born in New York. I was educated in England, and I survived stuff like boarding school, punk rock, and cricket even. I came to Norway in 1979. Something happened. It was a time when design thinking had only just started in this country, and we really have gone from black and white to full color since then. I remember, at the time, the company I was working for bought one of those first IBM PCs. It was a horrible thing, and I was very happy that I was a designer and would never have to work on a computer. Ha 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 ha. However, I was an early Mac user, and it I loved. The Mac started a digital revolution and had a huge impact on the way we work, and it also changed our lives. I've always liked functionalism, practical, really useful and relevant solutions based on the understanding that form follows function, a principle often associated with modern architecture or industrial design, but which also applies in graphic design. And we call it no-nonsense design, which brings me back to what I wanted to talk about. Having studied graphic design in the 70s, I became very influenced by clean Swiss design. Everything was in order and on a grid. And a good example of clean Swiss design is their flag. Here's another. The emblem for the Red Cross. It's a relevant solution because the Red Cross was founded in Geneva, in Switzerland, by Swiss businessman and social activist Henri Dunant in 1863. And he was also the first to receive the Nobel Peace Prize. Well done. But why is this so important? What's the relevance? Well, it's a matter of life or death. And I'll explain why. In the old days, knights were experts at no-nonsense design. They all had their team colors, their brand identities. If you were in battle, you needed to be easily recognizable so your teammates didn't mistake you for the enemy and accidentally kill you. Well, a similar principle applies today. So for a brand, being recognized or not is still a matter of life or death. I'd like to show you some of today's brand identities, and I'm sure you'll recognize most of them instantly, even though you can only see a small portion of them, or even though they might be in a reflection. And these are all success stories, and the result of a lot of hard work and money. I believe that the best designs tell a story. They speak for themselves. We listened to Nick this morning talking about old photographs telling a story. And it's the same with design. We've just had local elections in Norway, and a couple of political parties that do an excellent job at no-nonsense design, in my opinion, are the Christian Democrats and the Labour Party. They both have a message, and you can clearly see it in the design. This is a solution we came up with for a company involved in software development. The name is Latin, nobody understands it, but we've replaced the O with probably the most commonly recognized and used symbol in computer programming, and thereby adding some meaning to the name. The geeks who hired us were very satisfied with this solution, and incidentally, they like being called that. Another job we've recently done is for a company involved in decommissioning. They tear down buildings. Their concern for the environment needed to be clearly visible in the design solution. But there are global dimensions, responsibilities, and benefits to universal and accessible no-nonsense design. Color, for example. Today you need to be a little bit careful about how you use it. In the West, green is associated with the environment, but in the Middle East, it's associated with religion. Black is associated with funerals here in the West, whereas in China, it's white. And then there's the verbal aspect. When I came to Norway, I was asked to work for a company called Unitor Norgas Offshore Company. They wanted the logo with the 4 initials UNOC. I remember as a young man being horrified and told them that a eunuch, although spelt differently, was probably not what they wanted to be recognized as. So they quickly changed their name to Unico and lived happily ever after. In bilingual Canada, before 1960, the Canadian National Railways was referred to in both French and English, which had a tendency to cause some confusion. The CN trademark, which is now 51 years old, was the result of no-nonsense design. It represents a successful solution to a language challenge. They now call it CN, and it also started a new trend in corporate identity design. So this is the essence of what we try to think about when we're asked to come up with design solutions. But where does the inspiration and motivation come from? Well, I breathe design and I'm passionate about it. New technology is constantly being introduced. And I love having the opportunity to work with creative and talented people. The new technology that comes along allows us to be able to work anywhere in the world, as we have done on projects in Abu Dhabi and on this project in New York. Inspiration is all around us. It's in nature, on the streets, with children on the sidewalks, on walls, the Museum of Modern Art, suspicious packages, suspicious typography, suspicious fashion, suspicious place to sit down. All you need to do is look, listen, and learn. So what does all of this tell us? Well, it's not just about the way something looks. It's the idea that makes the difference. And it's an international market, and we're all connected. We use the same brands and products, and it makes no difference if we're in Bergen or Beijing. I'm confident that brands that appreciate cultural differences and that use a clear and relevant visual language have a better chance to succeed and to interact with people. What's the secret? Keep it clean, keep it simple, and keep it relevant. We call it no-nonsense design.